Welcome to Talk Purpose and Truth with Eden and Kim, shifting you into higher consciousness, the show that elevates, uplifts, and encourages listeners to grow, heal, awaken, and evolve. Eden and Kim include bold topics, special interviews with inspiring guests, intuitive readings, channeled messages from beyond, including celebrities, hot topics to expand your awareness, and time for questions from the audience. Tune in for unprecedented truth, authenticity, on-purpose discussions, and magical moments.
Have the perfect guest that aligns with all of that. And she was actually on, you guys can go back and find her episode. She was actually on way back around 2 years ago when we started our podcast, Missy Fowler. And so Eden's going to talk a little bit about her.
Well, I can go on and on about you, Missy. Been through a lot together. She's helped me so much. She's helped you, Kim, a lot, and our family members, and it's a lot of people that I know have sent her so many clients, and she's just a treasure to me. So highly intuitive, so such a good friend. So happy to have you on with us today to share everything with everybody that's listening, what we both know about you. So can't wait to get into it, but I'm going to introduce you formally. Her name is Missy Fowler, and she's an intuitive healer, a mentor, and emotion code practitioner. So first question I have, first, welcome, Missy.
Hi, Missy.
Hi, girls. Thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here again. Thank you.
Yeah.
And your episode, we had to have you back because just for 2 years straight, your episode has stayed pretty much in the top 10 and we have almost 100 episodes. So, I mean, that's really saying a lot.
Thank you. Well, that's super exciting for you girls, too. You guys are doing an amazing, extraordinary job with all that you share with the world. So thank you for that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, you're so welcome. Okay. So the first question is what I just introduced you as. I would love to hear you explain a little bit in more detail about what those three things are: an intuitive healer, a mentor, and an emotion code practitioner.
Okay. So how I see it is, as being an intuitive, as you both are as well, as we are able to tap into our inner guidance system or into our higher self, to our spirit guides, angels, universe, source, God, all those beings, right? So us all having access to that, everyone has access to that. So when I work with people, I'm able to connect to their higher self to receive and retrieve information for them, to show them that the questions that they're having within themselves, that is true, and to start to connect to their highest version of yourself. So being an intuitive, we're able to give answers and give them feedback and confirmations. So in my work, when working with people and being a spiritual healing guide, I'm able to get access to assist people and to show them how to get access to this as well, and to create space within to be able to receive more, to be able to get more access, to get their own answers within, right? We're always looking to find the answers, but they're really, truly within ourselves. So my biggest purpose here, I'm finding out, is to guide people to create that space, do some healing work with them, show them how they can connect to heal themselves as well. And in the process, create that space to open them up to get access to all that is, and to get connected more to their inner guidance system. And as an emotion code practitioner, I'm able to get to it through muscle testing and getting right to the root of the source of the emotion. So by doing that, we find out what the emotion is, the age. It could be in this lifetime, it can be a past life, it can be inherited, it can be in the womb, it can be from whatever it is that's meant to be, and it's through our subconscious. So it will show up when it's ready to be revealed. It knows us best, right? And when we're ready to face something, it will show up and we're able to get access to it and clear it and heal that. And I give them inner guidance and information and connecting to that as well through the process. It's not just the emotion code. So what has happened is that was a stepping stone for me. And through the process, it's led me to so much more to get access to and to show others what they have access to as well. So that's a little bit in a nutshell.
Much deeper than a therapy session. Yes, much deeper than a therapy session.
Yeah, deeper and quicker.
Yeah, and much
I think
more.
it's important to tell everyone, I think that, when we are in it, like I'll say, I do intuitive work and intuitive healing work with clients as well, but then I'll go see Missy for my own self, because what happens is when we're in it, then it's very difficult for us to, sometimes we get blocked, or sometimes we get too attached to whatever we're in. And so you go to somebody else and they can help you find your higher self or your higher messages.
Exactly. And that's the beautiful part, is we have one another. And a lot of us are being reunited to assist one another in this process, and to lend that hand out for others along the way, to show them that they have this ability and access to it as well. But in the process, that's what we get to do together, which is super, just
out of this world.
It is.
Yeah.
There's not even a word that I can even express to this. It's just so amazing. And to create that awareness, right? And open up people to show them. And it's through our own experiences too, what we've gone through, because everything we go through, we grow through, right? We're all going through that right now, especially the world collectively.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you explain that when we do go through something difficult, it doesn't mean that something is wrong with us? And how can we trust in what feelings we are experiencing, and that it's happening for our highest good?
Okay, so as we come here, right, we're this human being, right? But we're all a spirit, an energy, however you want to see it, connecting the two together. Through this process, we go through experiences to evolve and to grow ourselves through each experience that we go through. As I said, we grow through, right? So everything that we are going to face, we're attracting into our life to have that experience. And those people are playing a part in creating that opportunity for us. So we're always thinking, oh my goodness, why is this happening to me? And showing people, is this happening to you, or is it more happening for you, for a greater good, for the lessons that you came here, that you chose to come here to grow and evolve to, and to connect that to your highest version of you, which I know we're going to get to that in a moment. But as we go through this work and as we grow and move through these things, that's how we evolve into our highest, grandest version of us.
Yeah. Powerful.
Yes.
Okay. Can you also explain to us how we can have these false beliefs that kind of create a disillusionment? Is that a word?
Yeah.
Yeah. From our ancestors and our past generations, like what we're picking up from them. And can you give an example or two of what that is versus, I think, our own belief system?
Right. Well, that's the thing in this, what I've found through this process, and everything that I share, it's just something I've experienced. I'm not trying to tell people this is for them, because it's not a one size fits all, but I can express to you that through this process, all the beliefs that we have taken on along the way, a lot of them aren't even ours. And then we keep reliving something over and over and over again, and we're not understanding why our life isn't changing. So if we go into believing, like, this is a simple one, but it's very generational. Like, if you go outside and your hair's wet, right, you're going to catch a cold. Do you believe that to be true?
I used to.
Right. But then I tested it, of course, because of course everything I experienced, I'm like, I'm going to put it to the test to see, is that true? So far, so good. I have not gotten a cold or gotten sick from it. But I believe that it comes with what our belief system is behind it. So if I went into that saying, oh my goodness, I'm going to go outside right now and I'm going to catch a cold because my hair is wet, I guarantee you I would have had that cold. Because whatever I am feeling, I'm attracting and I'm creating. So as I went out there on a cold, rainy day with my hair wet out of the shower, stood out there and enjoyed the rain like a little child running around, right? And I've done that many times. So with that, I went out there. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get sick. This is so much fun. It's so free. I get to just be and just express myself. And I know I'm safe. Never got sick. So it's just a simple little thing, and just a big one too is the belief behind the answer, like asking a question or trying to be afraid of the no. What's the big deal about somebody saying no? Maybe you're being redirected for something better. Maybe it's something for you and your highest good that is redirecting you. No is not such a bad thing, but we have this belief behind it, like we're being rejected or they don't see, you know what I mean? And I had that for so long, and I've just overcome that most recently, because it can't hurt to ask, because the worst that somebody can say is no.
Yeah.
You know, these are just
What
very
about-
simple things, but a lot of people can relate to that. There's many more I could share in this, but this one is.
Well, share
Yes.
this. Can you share like something a little bit darker and deeper, which is like what we pick up on from our parents, from the imprint material from our parents, and they picked it up from their parents, and so on, and more, the generations before us, and what we're picking up on is their behaviors.
Exactly. And
are they our beliefs or their beliefs?
Exactly. And that's a big deal too. It's like the fear, like being in the news, right? When everything that's going on with the time we've been in, and being in the fear of that, and being surrounding ourselves with certain family members. And it's just where they're at in their life, but they're getting caught up in that belief that what others are telling them, instead of going within and saying, is this true for me?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people, that's what's been happening. And as we go through this process and understanding this more deeply, there's been so many times, I'm trying to come up with an example right now, and it's not showing up, but it will come in just a moment, because I'm in my head a little bit right now. So, because Eden and I talk about this all the time. And I was like, Eden, can you give me an example? We just talked about this yesterday, and I was on fire when I shared this with you. And now it's just, it left me.
I'll remind you.
Yes.
We talked about alcoholism.
Okay. Yes. And the belief behind that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So in my family, alcoholism runs on both sides of the family, right? And the belief behind that is there's so much in this. Oh my gosh, Eden. Yes. So when people come from that and they don't realize that it's something that they've been around and seen, and then they take on that belief thinking that there's something wrong with them, and there's really nothing wrong with them. It's something they have gone through, and they're suppressing it. And they're not realizing that the alcohol is suppressing that, so they don't want to face it, because they're afraid to face something because it hurts so bad. So as you're in that process, what I've experienced with family all around me on all sides, and throughout my whole entire life, I've been around this, and it's shown me so much along the way that there is nothing wrong with them. Like, I want to show them that this is just something that they've experienced that they're not even remembering, they've suppressed. And through the alcohol, all they're doing is numbing it. And that it's not so bad to just take a moment to go within and just face these little things that are coming up. They're very simple. It doesn't have to be something traumatic, but it's something that they've experienced. And just taking that moment, having somebody that they trust to talk to express how they're feeling, and to see that there isn't anything wrong with you. And just because you're deciding to do that, to not, deal with what that is, there's nothing wrong. You're okay. You're safe. So
I think that's part of the problem, is that when we pick up on the ancestors' stuff,
yes,
we feel unsafe.
Absolutely.
Because back, when my ancestors with the Holocaust, and that, something like that keeps getting repeated from, handing it down to each generation, there's a lot of fear.
Absolutely. And most of everything is around fear and not knowing how to deal with it. Yeah. And the whole thing with that is when people are telling you, I think even when we were talking about that, when I was sharing this, because I've been around it my whole life and I don't see them any different. I just see that they're just hurting and they're looking for help and support. And this is all they've ever known by what every generation has done. And that's what I know. I can go back to 3 generations, and now moving forward, seeing that in family members, children in our family that are doing the same thing and repeating the same pattern. So with that being said, it's just, they just need somebody to talk to trust, and to be open to, and have a conversation with, and really know that
to choose a different path.
Exactly. And this is a path that's not the big deal. Like, you don't have to stay here. And if you did, that's your path and that's your story. And imagine what you can do to inspire somebody else through your story from that experience.
Yeah.
And that's what's coming to.
Haven't you seen with ancestral trauma or ancestral healing, if one of us chooses, if one person chooses to heal something that's been in generations and generations and generations, like abuse or alcoholism or, being a convict, you know, that you see that repeating. You see somebody getting arrested and going, oh, well, my uncle was arrested, my father was arrested.
Exactly.
And so if they choose to change the story and heal that, then it's healed for 7 generations forward and 7 generations backward. And so you can ensure that, and I just got chills, you can be sure that that won't repeat anymore.
Right. And that's where we're at.
And that's the false beliefs, I think, when people believe that they're no better than their ancestors, their grandfather, their mother, because they did it, so I'm no better. And it's a limiting belief.
Absolutely.
Too.
And a false belief.
Yeah.
It's not their truth. It's just something they've fallen into because it's been around their surroundings and that's all they know.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
a simple thing that you can do when you have those beliefs coming up, those ones that she was talking about with the hair wet, or, you know, oh, I've always struggled with money, or whatever that may be.
Right.
You can stop and ask yourself, is that a fact? Where did this come from? And almost always you can't prove it as an actual fact.
It's the truth.
Because it's not
not your truth. And when you do take that moment to really take that time to ask that question, Kim, it's so powerful, because you're like, wait a second, that's not my truth. What do I believe to be true? And then that's when you start asking more questions and feeling what feels right to you. Because a lot of time we're just doing what we're shown and what's surrounding us. And and that's what we get to do, to show people this. Hey, is this yours? Is it? If not, let's dive in here and check it out. Ask some questions. That's connecting your inner guidance system, retrieving that information and insight that is there for you. But we don't know how to get access to that until you get into this work and start the process.
Right.
Okay. So people, a lot of times, will make decisions based on what they think other people have done, or what's been kind of imprinted in them from their past relatives, but it's not really their own truth.
Exactly.
And the truth is more like when they're connected to their heart.
Exactly. And that's where
their higher self.
That's our higher self, and that's our true essence of who we truly are. You can refer it to as inner self. Higher self is your soul, your higher consciousness. You know, people refer it to too many different ways. Doesn't mean one's right or wrong, because there is no such thing as right or wrong anyways. It's just what you believe to be true at where you're at in that moment. And I would like to give like a personal example of, you know, when we take things on, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So for instance, and this is not shaming my family, because I love them, because they were there for me, for my growth, to understand this, right? So being with a family member, as my grandfather was an alcoholic, then my dad was an alcoholic, then his son was an alcoholic, then his son's an alcoholic. They all made decisions based on what their influences were. Right. And going back generationals, they're just continuing the pattern in the cycle, not aware they're doing it. There's no shame on them. They are not aware of it.
Yeah.
So for me, watching that and observing that, I'm seeing, well, this isn't what I want to do. Not saying I don't like to have a good time and have fun. That's not what I'm saying. But I didn't take on those patterns. I did the exact opposite. I learned from them and saw, this is what I don't want to do. And usually you have one and the other in each family. And I'm seeing that with working with so many clients now, that everybody has one and the other. And then they're all there for the lessons and the experiences that are brought upon that for our evolution, for us to grow and to understand this and to come to this place of knowing that all here for us.
So I guess that's the difference. There's the knowing or having the awareness, and some people are unconscious of it.
Exactly.
Repeating the pattern.
Yes. And right now, in the time we're in, I believe everything is breaking down to be rebuilt. And I believe that our children, we're in the process of opening it up, but our children are the ones that are going to start breaking those patterns. I believe they're the ones that came here to start breaking those.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is
so
exciting.
What do we do? What about, like, I think that I see this a lot with everyone I know, including myself sometimes, and I know Eden. We get, let's say something keeps happening that's difficult, or we keep having an ailment pop up over and over again. So it gets so ingrained that we get so fearful of it happening again. And when you say we create whatever we believe to be true, how do we get out of that cycle of kind of our mind getting in the way of being afraid of something happening again and again type of thing?
Okay. Well, what I have done and recommend to to everybody is that it's when you're feeling this and this pattern keeps coming up, there's a reason for it, because it's not healed. And how you heal it is by facing it. When you face it, you feel it, you acknowledge it, and then that gives you the moment, because you can't just go from, oh, this is what it is, and then you need to go. You got to go through a process to really let it go and to become more aware of what that is. So as we face it, feel it, acknowledge it, and let it go, that's how we can clear it and break that patterns. As we do that, we change our perspective and the belief behind it. So they all go together. So it's not just one thing, it's all things. But it starts to become a more of an awareness that this is existing, and then we get to start breaking those patterns. Super exciting. And then we can see, once we remove those and let them go, and then there's a forgiveness piece in there too. There's many dynamics to it, but forgiveness is very key, especially for ourselves and whatever part we play. Every one of us is playing a part in this experience. Nobody's right or wrong. Nobody's bad or good. We're just here doing our best and learning and growing through the process. And whatever we choose, like I have this place now where I love everybody. I love whatever they've chosen to do. I don't have to like, but I truly love and see people for who they are. I don't care who they are, what they did, whatever. I have a love for that.
That's unconditional love.
I was just going to say, which I have come to find that that's unconditional love, but it had to start with myself.
Yeah.
For the very first time, I'm loving myself for the very first time. I just turned 50. This started the process about 2 years ago in transition. It's been a lifelong process, but everything I've ever gone through created this experience for me to see and look back and reflect and say, wow, look at how far you've gone. And then to see what the purpose was for each thing that I ever endured that created who I am today, and to show others anything's possible.
I love it. You know what book? It makes me think of a book, if anyone listening feels pulled to this, but there's a book called Oneness by Rasha, and it's channeled, but it explains all of what we're talking about in really deep detail, and it just helps you understand everything going on, like why things happen in life, why we're at where we're at in the world, everything. It's just so profound.
That's amazing. And it's very helpful to have that. I have not read that. I will be checking that out.
Yeah.
I love to get confirmations of everything, that we're talking about, and it just boosts us up and release those doubts and those false beliefs.
Because you can just open it up and it'll give you like what you need that day. It's like one of those.
Okay. Awesome. That's beautiful. Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Okay. So here's a question I think I get a lot from clients. What is our higher self? Can you explain what that is?
Yes. So our higher self is our highest version of us. And how I can always explain that to people is it's nothing weird. It's that you ever feel like you have a conversation and you feel like somebody's talking to you and you talk back and you're like, that's the best conversation I've ever had. That's our highest self coming through. Do we always listen to it? No. But if we don't, that's okay. That shows us that there's more for us to learn and grow from. So that highest version is our highest, truest essence of who we are. We come here in this earth experience, right, to evolve and grow ourselves. And then it comes a time when we start to bridge the two. And that's where we're in right now, is everything we've learned, we need to let go, detach, cut cords, cut all the things that go with that. We're not to be attached to anyone or anything, so we can evolve to our highest version. We take what we need, the little nuggets, and leave the rest behind. So as we create that, with that being said, our higher self is our grandest version of who we are. So when we look in the mirror,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, so when we look in the mirror, we're looking into our higher self, into our soul. So that self-love, looking for that, looking in the mirror. Every time you walk by a mirror, say, I love you. It's not very comfortable at first, right? But that's you connecting to your higher self. Automatic writing, we can connect to our higher self. All we do is ask a question. What is my highest good to know today? And then just let your pen write. So it's here to give us the answers. It knows everything about us because it's who we are in our highest version of us.
And would you say that's the self connected to God, the most powerfully
Absolutely.
connected to God?
Yes, absolutely. In source, universe, I believe in all of it. I call it GUS, God, universe, source, spirit, guide, or angel. We have so many, right, beings, but yes, universally, yes, the God consciousness and how we are all part of that. We are all one. We are all connected as the one. That oneness, that's why I'm curious about that book.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the channel writing that I receive is, I guarantee I'm getting similar things, and I can't wait to see what that's about.
Yeah.
So,
I have it, Missy. You can.
Okay, cool. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Oh, she'll want to buy her own.
Maybe.
Yes.
You have to bring me my Tupperware back anyway. So.
Yes, that's perfect. I do. Yes. Yes.
So, on that same topic, you did say something when we talked yesterday about what do you feel in the first 3 seconds? What's your gut?
Oh, our gut reaction. Yes.
Yes. So it's the same as the higher self talking.
Yes.
To us.
So, what I always recommend to people to trust, this is when you want to start trusting your inner guidance or your intuition, is what the feeling you get in the first 3 seconds. So if it feels good, more than likely that's a yes. When it feels icky or just off, usually that's a no. So I always recommend that's guiding you and connecting you more to your intuitiveness and the higher version of you, which is your higher self, your soul, connecting to those answers. So if we go with the no, which I did most of my life, that's why I got to experience all that I got to experience in this lifetime and existence, is because I always doubted the feeling, but now I understand that I was just being in a process of learning and growing. And now I can look back at that, and now I trust my gut instincts 99% of the time. Every once in a while I go off, but then there's more for me to, get to the goodies of all the goodness that this life has to offer. So most of the time, but I go with that instinct and go, okay, this doesn't feel good. You know what? I'm just going to take a step back, and I'm just going to observe it and watch and just tune in and ask myself, is this in my highest good to go to this? And then start asking those questions and connecting more to your inner guidance system. It's waiting for you to connect to it now. We're all waking up right now.
Can you read other people's higher selves?
Yes. So that's when I do work with people. I didn't know that's what I was doing until the last year and a half, but I would be sharing something from them, and I'm like, does this make sense? And they're like, it's exactly what I was doubting about myself. And I said, well, your higher self, one day I was like, I heard it's their higher self. Do you get it? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I do. This is so cool. So what I get to do is intuitively connect to their higher self, retrieve information to give to them, to show them, yes, here you go. You don't need to doubt yourself anymore. And that starts that process, because that's a process. We have so many layers, right, of things that we've taken on, those beliefs that aren't ours, and programmings, the patterns, everything. So connecting to that and showing them, connecting to their higher self through that process and trusting that. And when I'm doing the work, I'm able to get access to give them the answers to show them.
For more information on Eden, go to edensustin.com. For more information on Kim, go to kimlifecoach.com. Make sure to follow them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Talk Purpose and Truth Podcast. If you loved this episode, you'll love every episode. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Thank you for listening.